kick my granddaughter Lakeisha out. She can't never seem to keep this bathroom dusted. That's all I ask her to do on this side of the house. But listen, that ain't why I called you. Listen, see, we had a meeting after church last Sunday about the fellowship dinner for next week. And Pastor was saying he wanted to do something a little nice, to welcome all the new Latina families that joined the church. What I think is good. But do you know that Deacon Jackson talking about we need to serve some tacos, refried beans, and rice? I told him, I said, you can't do that. We don't know where these people from. They could be from Mexico. They could be from the Dominican. They could be from Puerto Rico. They could be from Spain. We don't know where they're from. And I told him, how would you like it if you went to a white church and they wanted to welcome you and they serve you fried chicken and some fatback cornbread and collard greens and watermelon? I told him that don't make sense. I think all we need to do, we need to serve what we normally serve. And then maybe just put something on the little program and say, like, bienvenidos a nuestro barrio, something like that. Now, if my Spanish is okay, I think that means welcome to our neighborhood. Girl, what you talking about what I know about Spanish, honey? I was trying to date Julio Iglesias back in the day.
Hello and welcome to the Angela Ray Show. I am Angela Ray and today's guest is actress, producer, and director Dilsey Davis. Dilsey, thanks so much for stopping by the Angela Ray Show.
Oh, no problem.
So you have had an amazing journey, starting off as an actress, right? I don't know how many years ago, but I know when I first met you, it wasn't as an actress, and it was over 15 years ago. We were 6 at the time. But since that time, you've done a lot in terms of producing your own content as well as working for some governmental agencies. Talk about how that transition was from you making the step in front of the camera to behind the camera.
Mm-hmm. So my first love is acting. So I love acting. But I also realized when I was on set that that a lot of the power influence to be able to share certain stories is coming from behind the camera. And so I think I learned a lot just by watching on set as an actress or sometimes as a stand-in where you're on set all the time. And I just realized that there are a lot of stories out there that I wanted to share and want to tell, and the only way to really be able to do that is by telling your own and writing and doing other stories like that. So.
And so talk about your first short film.
Okay. Yeah, so my first short film was called The Other Side. It was based on a children's book, and we shot it in North Carolina in Wilmington. And I acted and wrote and produced and directed. And I realized at that point that that's a lot of hats to be wearing at the same time. But it turned out to be a good project, and it dealt with the issue of race through the eyes of 2 little girls. And so we were able to show that across the country, and it was part of the Fair Housing Alliance's campaign. And so it was kind of through storytelling we were able to help raise awareness around certain issues. And so through that process, I really realized that storytelling is the key to connecting people to particular issues.
Okay. And then from there, what was your next project? Was that when you started on Nuestro Barrio?
Yes. So Nuestro Barrio is a Spanish telenovela or soap opera series. And the show, we did the pilot for it around the same time that we did The Other Side. And the pilot was kind of considered at that time a local show. We were doing something to impact, to share with the Latino community some of the issues that were coming up around fair housing as well. So for example, in North Carolina, we had a huge influx of Latinos that were coming into the community and were often getting treated poorly. So for example, people were charging for like $30 to change a light bulb. So it was things that people didn't really understand or being discriminated against. So we decided, I was actually...
Not being paid time and a half
yes,
for overtime. I knew that happened to someone I work with one time.
Yeah, so I was actually in a place called the Latin Grill. It was a restaurant in downtown Durham, and I was watching a Chilean telenovela, and I said, let's make a telenovela. And I'd watched telenovelas, and I really liked them, and they were very animated, so we decided to do it. And so we put together this piece that we were addressing fair housing issues and worked with all the human relations commissions around the state, including the State Human Relations Commission. And we had so much success across the board, across the all across North Carolina, and it was easy to address the issue yet again through the story of this family, the Sanchez family, and through the other characters in the show. And so we were able to get front page on a lot of newspapers. And so at that point, we knew we were onto something. So from there, we made a pitch to company and in regards to addressing other issues, but again, keeping the entertainment, making it fun, talking about having the love, the drama, and the romance. And so we were able to do 3 episodes and then market tested, and it did really, really well. And so from there, we had a whole season, and we started, believe it or not, it was the first Spanish language series to air on English language television in the U.S. So
wow.
we
and
were
that
really,
was you. She produced, she directed that. And it ended up airing in what, 26 million homes across the country?
yes, we wind up airing across the United States, and we were in different markets on different channels. And we did really well in terms of the viewership. And we were able to touch a lot of people's lives, and I think that was important. So not only did we have the characters in the love and drama, but we were really tackling a lot of financial issues in a way that I think people don't realize that you can do in film and TV, because I think financial things are considered, oh, that's boring or that's too technical, but you can break it down. So from there, I think I was able to share this with other organizations like World Bank and GTZ, which is an organization in Germany. And so from there, we were able to then go to Africa, to South Africa in particular, because I'd been shooting there for another project around HIV, and we were able to create another short film. And the purpose of that short film was to show to filmmakers in Africa that you can address these issues but still have the drama. And so it was called Wedding Day. We shot it actually closer while I was planning my own wedding, so that's why that's why that came about. But just kind of issues of trust and in relationships. So we were tackling other themes, but again, we were able to address some really important pieces in that. And then we premiered it in Ghana the week before my wedding. so
Wow.
yeah. So that's kind of some of the background on some of the pieces that I've done.
Most recently, though, you stepped behind the camera yet again, and you directed a web series, at least the first season, called Confessions of Angry Wives.
Yes, I did, and there was a certain actress that was in that.
Me? Yes. I was in one of the episodes of Confessions of Angry Wives,
Yes.
which was a lot of fun.
Yes. So friends approached me who were the hosts of the show, and you could say it's kind of like the world's shortest talk show, and so the goal of it is really, it's a funny show, and there's 2 characters, LaQuisha and Lorena, who are the hosts of the show, and so they're really funny and cheeky and so forth, but they go
Over the top, even.
They go around to these different areas, and so women can come in, and basically it's like confession, where you come in for confession and you're sharing your life. And so just different things from cheating to the laundry to being a tired mom, just all these different elements. But the goal of it is to offer advice, and even though it's done in a very fun way, a lot of women are dealing with these things, and so it's a way to kind of address some of those issues.
Awesome. So that's what you've been up to behind the camera. Of course, you're still auditioning, you're still acting. For those individuals who have, I guess, maybe Netflix or Hulu, you can check her out in Sabotage with the Governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is in that movie. But what types of projects are you looking to do now in terms of behind the camera? Because I happen to know that you have a feature film in pre-production right now. But in addition to that, what types of projects really get you excited? What do you want to do in the future?
Well, I think for me, I look for poignant stories, but I'm looking for solutions and looking at characters and transformation of characters. I think a lot of times we see a lot of the bad in terms of what people are going through, and we point out these particular characters, and we see them go from like being halfway good characters to bad characters. And I think that's fine. I think we need all of those things, but I think we also need to see people who are in a rut and who are really stuck, and see how they get out of those situations and how they can develop healthy relationships. And I think healthy relationships are one of the things that I'm really interested in. I think we have a lot on television right now of a lot of the opposite of that, particularly not just in reality television, but I think that's what feeds a lot of a lot of television, a lot of films,
Scripted
particular,
television.
and scripted TV, but primarily I would say there's a lot of it in a lot of the reality programming as well. And just the other side of that, like, you know, how do we develop healthy relationships if we're always seeing just the conflict? And I think conflict is important, but there's a lot of other types of conflict. There's internal conflict that people have. There's the conflict of how do I have a healthy relationship if my parents had a crappy relationship? Like, how do I find that? Where do I model that type of relationship? So that's the project that I'm trying to do. It starts off as a feature, but the goal of it is to turn it into a long-term series, and also again, trying to find other projects that are doing similar things. In addition to that, I'm working on an adaptation of a novel right now, so I'll be writing a screenplay for that. And I just wrote a screenplay last year, a feature screenplay that was shot, I think over the summer that it was filmed. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they came up with, and taking that story and bringing it to life.
Awesome. And Dilsey's company is Cafe Con Leche Media, and if you'd love to catch up with her, maybe find out what this feature is about, perhaps you have a pot of gold and you would love to be an investor or a funder, you can find her on the World Wide Web at cclmedia.com. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Dilsey Davis. Dilsey, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. Have a great evening.